Bet on Bears fans, another edition of the Chicago Bears podcast coming your way. Pat, the designer, Mark Silverman in the building. Silvy back on the pod. I got you back sooner.
I was shocked that I got the call. I thought I was just like it was like a gesture that you guys were reaching out to me, and then I would never hear from you the rest of the season. But I'm back for the preseason.
You're back for the preseason, and you know why? Because me and you were out there in the lather yesterday.
Oh my God!
Yesterday there was a little schwitz going on there. Watching.
I'm in a schwitz right now. I mean, like, Pat, I sweat getting out of bed. But like, that's what I told you. I told you this before off the air. Like, it's what I love about you. There are many podcast hosts who would just do the podcast. They would read everybody in their reports. They'd read the article, and then they just sit down and do the podcast. Yeah. Pat's out there hustling. He's out there watching every drill. We're conversing about what we see, what we don't think, what we agree on, what we don't agree on, and you're there every time, and it's awesome.
I appreciate it. I appreciate the support and the love, and I'll tell you this right now, I think we may be getting some love back from the Chicago Bears this year. Got to talk about the practice we saw. Got to talk about this depth chart. Interesting depth chart that the Bears dropped yesterday. Some names that we thought may be in the starting lineup, not there, but of course, unofficial. Ben Johnson did say that, take everything with a grain of salt right now. It's still preseason. Now, you had Ryan Poles on yesterday. Got to talk about some of the things that Poles, brought to the table and brought to you guys' attention and what you really took away from that. All that and more today's episode of the Chicago Bears podcast. Hit the like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. Today's episode brought to you by the Advantage Dealer Group. Find your next Chevy, Toyota, or Acura and drive off in under 60 minutes, or they'll make your first car payment. Also brought to you by the Hard Rock Casino in Northern Indiana, located 30 minutes from Soldier Field, exit 6 I-80-94. All right, Silvy. Yesterday, probably one of the toughest practices that we have seen under Ben Johnson to this point. I've said one of the toughest practices I've seen since covering the team over the last couple of coaches. I turned to you on this, and one of the reasons I wanted to have you back here, you covered the team, you were on the beat initially. Is this one of the toughest practices you've seen under the Bears in the last 20 to 25 years here?
I mean, I said back from when I was covering the team in Platteville. So what is that? Is that 15, 20 years?
Wani?
Yeah.
Platteville Wani?
Yeah, well, Platteville Wani, and then we had Jerron. I think maybe Lovey's first year. I'm trying to think. His first year may have been Bourbonnais. But whatever the fact is, and I'm not giving them extra credit for doing this, but what we have always asked, Pat, and we say it on our pregame show for the Bears all the time, we say it on the Waddle and Silvy show, is make it make sense. And we're seeing as we go to practice every day, things that just make sense.
Yes.
We're seeing a quarterback develop the right way. Yesterday's practice was something that we have asked for years. You have to get calloused for an NFL season. I understand that the NFL has rules these days, collective bargaining, what you can and can't do, but I also feel like something that you mentioned, 8 padded practices out of 16 that Eberflus did last year. That's unacceptable. You can't get ready for a football season without playing football. It's as simple as that. You have to have contact. Sure, there's always a risk when you step on the field, but yesterday's practice was exactly what I wanted to see. There were guys colliding. There were big hits, people taken to the ground. There was a feistiness to this Bears team that we needed. Let's go. Like, they need more of this, not less of it. It doesn't mean they're going to win 10 or 11, but it means, Pat, for the first time, and I think you and I really agree on this, is they're being coached the right way. And it's not just Ben Johnson. What I've loved about the staff, and I've said it repeatedly, Dennis Allen, Antoine Randall, Al Harris. The guy
Al's in the fight. He's in the fight.
I love it. They're running in the defensive line coach, the offense. Rochar's in there, chewing out his guys just to hear these things. Ben Johnson telling Luther Burden, get your ass in there.
Yeah.
They're being coached finally, and it's something we've asked for. And if we're going to ask for it, when they deliver immediately and it's making sense, say, hey, good job, Bears.
And I think to your point, Silvy, it is the coaching, because yesterday was not just, hey, guys, we're going to go out there, we're going to hit, it's going to be a fun time, let's not do too much. Yesterday was orchestrated by Ben Johnson.
Yeah.
And you could tell, like when we were standing on the field and watching it, He's blowing the whistle. He's doing what he has to do so that if anyone's watching, he's trying to make sure that we're keeping practice orderly. But the whistle blows a little long. He's watching it happen. He's peeking in there. Are we defending our teammates? Okay, all right, let's break it up. We got to get back to practice.
Yes.
Handshaking, business as usual. And Deshaun Wright said it yesterday. He said, Ben told us this was coming. Ben told us the offense was going to come at us and to be prepared for it because they feel confident today and they're going to be aggressive today. And I love the fact that this wasn't just the players getting sick of hitting each other. Ben Johnson said, go play football, and they responded.
It was the Sunday Fan Fest day, the Family Fest, and they were sloppy.
Yes.
And Ben's talked about that, the procedural issues. So what he did after the day off, and then they had a little walkthrough in the excursion, he said, look, you got a day off tomorrow. We want to see the offense, I'm sure. You guys sucked on Sunday.
Yeah.
And let's not string these bad practices together. Go out there and take it to them. And I'm glad that the offense took on that challenge and they were better. And maybe in a year or two, Pat, there will be a time where Ben Johnson says, enough with the fighting.
Yeah.
But what I believe, and I was thinking about this driving into work today, I don't think they want fights against the Dolphins. They'll inevitably happen, but I think what you always hear the coaches say is then you're not getting the work in because now you have two teams who don't care about each other.
Yeah.
So I think maybe they got it out of their system, and now they're going to focus on football and be physical, take it to the whistle.
Yeah.
But I don't want to see 4 fights against the Dolphins. And I was thrilled. I didn't think that the fights or the scuffles, whatever you want to call it, the scraps, took away from any of the work that was being accomplished. I love, too, I don't know if you saw this. I didn't see it happen in real time, but I watched it when the Bears released it, when Brisker came in and he made a big play. I forgot what he did.
He ends up getting, I believe it was Monungai in the backfield.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then he went and Ben Johnson's yelling at the offense or whoever missed an assignment or a block, and Brisker got in Ben Johnson's face a bit. I just love that competitive nature.
Yeah.
That the Bears are this is football. This isn't patty cake. This isn't baseball. This isn't basketball scrimmages. You have got to have some violence and some collisions in training camp still. I truly believe that.
Now, as fans, right, we know this is what we want. This is the exciting part where, we watched football yesterday. That was
Yes.
not training camp. That was playing football with structured drills. And you get one player who does end up, we don't know exactly what happened to Cole, but he does end up getting banged up. The only thing that I thought was, is it worth it to have some of these casualties to run a practice like this? Because these practices have been far more aggressive than anything I've seen under the last 2 coaches. Where you're going to have some of those casualties, but you're prepared for the game. And then on the flip side of that, my thought was there was a lot of people missing in Detroit last year. There were a lot of players at the end of the year, beat up, banged up, couldn't go. Is that because of the practice style? Is that because of the play style? I think they got to figure out how to balance it, but I do agree with you. For this team early on, it does seem like it's the right thing to kind of get both sides of the ball going.
You still have to have these, though, but it shouldn't be every day. And I would just counter you by saying with Detroit and stuff, how many line combinations did the Bears play with last year? Offensive line. How many guys got hurt last year?
16, I think, at one point.
How many injuries did the Bears have? I truly believe that, and Yurko tells us this, Thayer tells us this, Waddle tells us this. You have to get calloused.
Yeah.
If you're walking into that first game and you don't know what it's like to be hit again because you sat out the whole preseason, you weren't tested in training camp. Now all of a sudden you're like, oh shit, I'm getting hit.
Yeah.
And I'm not ready for this. Remember the 2023 opener, I was wondering, Nate Davis never practiced, guys weren't practicing.
But he's starting.
Right. And then we're like, okay, let's turn it on here for the Packers.
Yeah.
And they got housed.
Yeah.
I remember Matt Nagy telling us after the 2019 season, I screwed up. I didn't play my guys in the preseason. I thought coming off of 18, we could sort of tiptoe through training camp. You can't do that.
Yeah.
And I think the Bengals, who have been through a lot of injuries, are saying to themselves, we've gotten off to 2 slow starts. We haven't taken the preseason seriously. Joe Burrow, and I think Joe Burrow wants to play, they want to play. And if it's good for Joe Burrow, I think it should be good for Caleb Williams in game 1 too.
I'm very excited to see if we do play. Mike McDaniel said he doesn't know if he's going to play his starters, which if he doesn't play his, does that matter? You know what I mean? To me, I think you put Caleb out there and you see what he's got, see if he can go. If you can't do it against the 2s, I'm concerned about you versus the 1s. Like, and I'm not saying that you're going to take this massive, like, oh, he's got it all figured out away, but I do wonder, what the benefit is there. Ben Johnson talked about that. He was like, some of the times where, what you do in preseason takes away from the things that you do during practices and stuff like that, because you're trying to use some of those reps in the preseason and have these guys ready. So it'll be interesting to see that. I do want to talk about this preseason game, though. Hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave a 5-star review. Y'all know what to do, at least from a Bears perspective, because we did get the depth chart, and there were some interesting switches here. Now, I will say this is unofficial. We know that things can change, but as of right now, Braxton Jones still with that starting left tackle spot. Does that surprise you, Silvy?
It surprised me a little bit, but I know that my eyes have been telling me they've been getting Trapillo out there more than not. And is that because they just want Trapillo getting these reps and they feel like Braxton understands this stuff, and because he had to be ramped up, he couldn't take every snap? So I don't know. I still think they would love to see Trapillo win the job. And there's a lot of football left to be played. What else surprised me? I felt like they didn't give, this wasn't surprising, any of the rookies anything. They
didn't give them any love. Colston's the only one that technically has a starting spot because they listed it in 12 personnel essentially. But I mean, that still feels like Cole's job. Now, Cole dealing with the injury. We'll see what that ends up being. Heard from Adam Hogue yesterday. It doesn't seem serious, but we did sign a tight end right after, which is kind of, okay, how unserious is it? I thought that seeing Trapillo, he didn't get it. Luther Burden, not only did you not get it, you're behind 4 wide receivers.
I think that's a message too.
It felt like that to me.
Like even though he's impressed us though this last week, that you have not earned anything yet.
Yeah.
You don't get, he made a one-handed catch yesterday.
Yep.
It looked great. He looks the part, Bears fans. I can tell you that. I know you can tell them that.
Oh, yeah.
But I think things need to be earned here. And I think those guys, remember, they are Ben's guys. Ben had a huge impact in drafting them. So I think they're going to get used, but I don't think they want to put their name in lights yet.
I wonder if it's, too, one of the things that you said yesterday, right? And just now on the podcast, like, Luther, you got to get in there. Get a hat on a hat. We heard Ben Johnson scream that out yesterday. We've heard Caleb Williams going at Luther Burden. That's your ball. Go up and get it. I wonder if there is a little bit of that. He's not there yet because he was behind schedule. Like, you got to realize how we're playing this. And right now, you're not playing at the standard. You're behind a guy who, and I thought this was a message when Ben said this, the guys he trusted, listed DJ, listed Rome, listed Cole, said, I don't really trust any of the rookies just yet. And then it felt like a point to me to say, I do trust OZ. That's another one you could put on the list. Yeah. Alameda Zacchaeus,
that's your guy, too.
Luther Burden.
He's really good. Yeah, he does his, why I like OZ is because he does his job. Yep. He's not trying to be the number one. Last year I felt like Rome was trying to establish himself. DJ's trying to be the number one. And then you've got a guy who's going to be into the Hall of Fame who also is the go-to target for Caleb. And I just thought there were 3 ones instead of 3 receivers working on a team. I think it fits better with like a guy like Zacchaeus where he just does his role.
Yeah.
And I think with Burden, I'm not telling you he's Jamison Williams or that he's got any issues like Jamison Williams.
No.
Who I do. But Jamison Williams was a first-round pick who has all the talent in the world, but he needed to be shown the way. And Ben Johnson did that. Antoine Randall L. did that. They took some lumps along the way, but he came out of there looking like a better player. So they know how to develop it. They know how to keep guys hungry. And I'm here for it. Yeah. I'm here to follow the process of how this guy is doing it because I feel like we have a staff finally who can develop players.
Well, that's what I love about it, too, is it's not like this isn't sending a message by putting somebody who's trash ahead of them. We've seen that, right? Oh, I'm going to put this guy out there to tell you that we're going to embarrass you because it's more embarrassing to be behind this guy. OZ is a good football player. He goes out there. He's somebody that Caleb trusts. He makes plays. He does his job, like you said. I don't think he has more talent than Luther Burden. I don't. I think that Luther Burden could be a number one on a team at some point. When you see his talent, when you see the one-handed catches, when you see how he gets off the line, he looks like one of the best wide receivers on the field at all times. But OZ's willing to stick his hat in there and go in there and make a block. He's willing to get out on the edge. He's willing to go after that ball. And maybe it is going to be a little bit out of reach. You can't go get it, but give it a try. You know what I mean?
And I think every team needs role guys. Like, I think Cole Kmet's finally going to play his correct role now.
Yeah.
Not only do you have the offensive mind, but you've got the other tight end who could do the things that some people wanted Cole to do, which he just can't do. He's not built that way. And I think we know about Waddle, like back in the day. Waddle just did his job. Like another guy, one of my favorite guys who I always thought was a very good Waddle comp was Earl Bennett.
Yes.
Like I always thought that every team needs an Earl Bennett where he's reliable, he's going to catch a first down, he's going to get open, knows how to run a route, he's not going to be a diva. And that to me is what OZ is.
Yeah. And it's an understanding, right? And I think there are more players on this team that do have that understanding of like, if I just do my job well, we win. I don't need to do everybody's job well. No. I just need to do my job well, and we can win. And I think that seeing that is one thing where I don't know if Luther's there yet. Now, again, we haven't talked with him a ton. We haven't sat down with him. We are not in the locker room with him. Maybe he is there, and it truly is just that he's still having some miscues with the playbook. But it did. I felt like what you said. It felt like a message to sit there and go, you're not even with the number twos. That was shocking to me because I think it was Miles Boykin and OZ are the number two wide receivers on this team essentially, and then there's Luther Burden. So we'll see what ends up happening there. I do want to get to this before we get out of here. Appreciate you guys tuning in and showing love. Hit the like button, subscribe to the page. I was in the background like a fly on the wall, back in the shadows like the Babadook. When you guys had Ryan Poles on yesterday. Yeah. I thought that he was very eloquent in how he talked. He didn't give you anything on, whether there was anybody going to be signed here, if he was close on any deals. It would have been nice to hear. When you hear how Ryan's talking, does he sound like somebody who's confident that this is finally the right mix? We made all of the right moves, and now it just has to play out.
I feel like he does his stuff and the way he communicates a little bit differently today, and I think he learned a lot. I hope he learned a lot from last year.
What did he say? He said, it's going to be hard to make this team.
It's going to be hard to make this team. We're going to break the cycle, and then if anything, you almost broke Caleb.
Yeah.
We're going to take the North and never give it back. It's always good. Like, there's lots of platitudes, there's lots of mottos, but when you can't follow through on that, I think he's a little more understated. But I thought, like you said, he was eloquent in a lot of the things. I think he's very happy that this is now the Ben Johnson show. Yeah. And with Eberflus, you didn't get any answers. So if you wanted answers about the team, you had to go to Ryan Poles. Now, if you want any answer about who missed the block, who wasn't right, that was Monangai.
You don't even have to ask almost at this point.
Yeah, and it's great. Don't spend energy hiding stuff on things that don't need to be hidden. Yeah. And so I like the mix right now, and I sure hope, because he's signed now for a while, and I've been a critic, that he understands his missteps, overanalyzing the culture from last year, thinking he had a good one, and they had the exact opposite. So I'm okay with the way he's come across, and he was still very, very thoughtful with a lot of his answers.
It feels like, and I agree with you, it feels like he was very self-reflective after the season and was like, I thought one thing and we had another. I do wonder how much he's reliant on, what the coaches are seeing to go out there. Normally you'd say, what are your scouts doing? But it feels like the second Ben Johnson showed up, all of a sudden Joe Tooney's in the building. Mm-hmm. The second Ben Johnson showed up, all of a sudden we're going to get Drew Dahlman. Second Ben Johnson shows up, we're going to get Jonah Jackson. Yeah. It's like, do we have an interior offensive line, the thing we've been begging for 5 years, and for some reason Matt Eberflus didn't care to go after? Or I can't even remember the O-line coach, Chris Beatty's wide receiver. It's gone now. I moved on from that staff real quick, didn't I?
And he was a carryover too. And
yeah, multiple carryovers.
Yeah. Google that really quick for us, because once I hear it and I would see him,
I can see his face,
but not good.
But it is like you're relying on the coaching staff you have. I do wonder if having this staff in place, which I give him credit for hiring,
Chris Morgan.
There we go. I give him credit for hiring it, but if it's going to make him now a better GM because you have better eyes looking at it.
Of course. Like, I think those are the people who understand this stuff. I said to Ryan Poles, this is a good example. I said to Ryan Poles a year ago when they were scouting quarterbacks at the Combine, and we did our interview with him during Combine week. This is just a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And I said, you know, when the Chiefs got Mahomes and you were there, Brett Veach used Andy Reid, a Hall of Famer, to be his guide on what he was looking for and what to ask these quarterbacks and if they should trade up for him. And I said, who is your Andy Reid? And he said, Matt Eberflus is my Andy Reid. And we know that's not true. We know they're not comparables, but that's what he was selling himself even. Yeah. And like you just pointed out, what did he know about offensive lines? Yeah. What did he know about coordinators? He didn't want to hire the right coordinator because he felt threatened. So now they've got guys who have been there and done that, and they understand football. And it's why I think hopefully Poles will be better in his job.
Yeah, I'm very excited. It feels like he's starting to get some things. He's got the guys that are going to get it right. And what I love about the staff that we have in place is it feels like even if you gave Ben Johnson the wrong pieces, he could figure out how to get it right. That's how he's operating practice. Like, that's why I'm not as worried with a lot of the stuff that we're seeing that people are freaking out about. Family Fest, oh God, the world's ending. We were talking yesterday. I'm like, yeah, that's how install works. There's some days that are great. There's some days that are bad. And then you build a playbook around the stuff that's great. And the stuff that's bad, you figure it out along the way. Or you find new stuff to try and fit into where the bad was. Like, I think that there hasn't been a ton to worry about here like we were worried last season. And it's been a weird training camp. I don't know if you felt this way, where all of the problems that we kind of were like, is that a problem? I don't feel that concerned about. Even the defensive line, where a lot of people have concerns, I'm like, well, it's still Javon Dexter, Grady Jarrett, Montez Sweat. We're halfway there.
Yeah. Well, and I haven't seen veteran days either. Like, it's light enough. Yeah. Like, I love that Montez Sweat is re-engaged and is being more of a leader. You don't need these. The NFL has built in enough days off. It's time to go to work right now. Yeah. It's the first thing Ben Johnson said when he was hired. He told the entire office staff. He joked. He said tongue-in-cheek, but it wasn't really a joke. He's like, okay, now everyone back to work.
Back to work.
And I don't know how many games the Bears are going to win. I can't promise you that this is finally the team that we're going to love, but I can tell you they're getting to work.
They're getting to work, and I love it, and I hope that we continue to see it. I'll be back up there tomorrow and Friday. We got joint practice coming up, so stay tuned in with us here on the Chicago Bears podcast. Make sure to stay tapped in with Silvy over on Waddle and Silvy every single day. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. For Mark Silverman, it's your boy Pat the Designer, back at it again. Bear down. One love. Peace.